Hi, I'm Julie from Rustic Cottage Co. I hope you like the video. Please give it thumbs up and comment in the comments section. That will help my little business grow. I love to create and do all different kinds of styles, rustic and farmhouse, industrial and small home decor too. I hope you enjoyed the video and learn lots of different techniques from me, and I inspire you to create yourself. If you're local to me, I also sell. I'm in Chilliwack, BC, Canada, and if you are local, please stop by and say hi. If you're anywhere else in the world, thanks for watching and I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. I'm Julie from Rustic Cottage Co. Welcome. It's not quite the sunny days that I had last week. It's a little cooler and a little wetter. The usual England as I remember it, that's for sure. I thought I'd give you a little recap of where I'm at. I moved from Canada to England just over a week ago, and I'm now trying to re-establish myself, as it's been 30 years since I've lived here in England and I'm literally starting all over again. I moved back here to live with my parents. They're getting a little older now, so I need a little bit of help and support, so that's going to be one of my main goals for being here. Also, my sister lives close by, so this is her garden. You saw that last week in the video showing you her garden, how beautiful it is, and I'm back in the garden and figured I would do my introduction of this week's video back in her garden, as it is so beautiful. Anyway, just to recap, yes, I moved here to help out with my parents and be closer to my sister and just kind of get my roots back and establish a new life for myself. So this video this week is the start of my journey of getting myself established, finding my roots back to what I used to do and how I did it, and finding my way back around. Unfortunately for me, I don't have a vehicle here, so I'm walking everywhere, but if you remember at the beginning of this year, I did say I wanted to lose a little weight, and now that'll be easier as I am walking everywhere and trying to get my steps in. My goal is 10,000 steps a day. I'm not doing that every day right now, but I'm certainly doing it a few times a week, so that's good. One of the things I'm going to do is walk back through the park, all the way into town, and show you a little bit around town. So that's one of the things. And also this week I'm going to go into one of the hardware stores, have a look to see what paints they have, what I can use to start creating, and just the things that I can start using here. I found that a lot of the actual paints that I used to use in Canada is available here and cheaper, so let's see if they're in the stores, the ones that I can actually walk to. Even better, right? What else am I going to get up today, this week? This week I've been sending off the documents, getting myself established. As I say, it's been 30 years since I've lived here, so you know, just getting my documentation of my social insurance number and different things like that I just can't remember, so I've got to get that established, and change of address, change of everything, and even including YouTube, I had to change the actual country so that I get paid and the taxes and everything were sorted out. That took quite some doing, and fingers crossed I did it right so I can get paid. But yes, just for the tax purposes and also streaming, you do have to have the country right, so that was a little bit hard on me trying to figure all that out. It wasn't an easy task, but hopefully this video is doing the right thing. What else is going on this week? I'm feeling a little better. I'm feeling a little more positive. I'm still a little sad. I'm definitely sad of what my life could have been in Canada rather than what it was, but I am very positive to try and get going into my new life here in England and to just basically explore. So I'm still at that stage of, at the beginning, exploring things that I know I've done before when I was younger, and then as the weeks go by I'll explore some things that I've never done, because as I say, I was only in this country. I was born in England, I grew up in England, but I did leave when I was 18, so I've never really been an adult in England, so there's a lot of things I don't know or haven't been to. So it's almost like going to another country and starting your life again. Yet here I do have support and I do have some knowledge. So, and I do have actually some past here, so that makes it a little bit more interesting. I hope you enjoy the video. Let me know your favourite parts, and I can't wait to get going and creating and get painting soon, so I hope they'll be able to do that soon. Keep watching. So last week I went for a little bit of a walk through the park, and this is the other end of the park. This week I'm actually going all the way through the park and into town. It's not that far. It felt like it when I was a little kid, but it's like a 10-minute walk if you're a fast walker. I'm taking it slow and easy because it's been a hot day, but this is the end of the park, the entrance into town. Well, all the way through the park, and on one side of the park this is my primary school I went to, St. Lawrence Primary School. It never used to have this big fence, so I'm not sure how much you'll see, but just kind of going back down memory lane, and I've got to go this way into town anyway. This is the primary school I used to go to. Now, primary school, this is an infant and primary school, so it goes from when you start school in kindergarten all the way up to being, for England, 11 years old, and then you go to high school at 11, because they start earlier and they actually graduate when they're 15, 16 here, rather than the US and Canada, which is 18. So I went to this school I moved here when I was 8 years old up until I was 11. So that's the time I went to this school. So, you know, 11 years ago, that's what, 39 years ago for me. I last was up here going into this school. So I've just mentioned, I'll just wait for the bells here. So I just mentioned these steps here, and this here, I just mentioned going to St. Lawrence's Primary School. This is actually St. Lawrence's Church. Now if you just wondered where those bells came from, it's from the town hall clock, which is here opposite the church, so I just thought I'd show you that. That's where the bells came from. But this here is actually St. Lawrence's Church. The church belongs to the school, and the school belongs to the church. And every Thursday while I was going to St. Lawrence's School, we would have to walk over to the church and have assembly in the church and prayers in the church. Let's get a little bit closer. The part at the end there, I don't know what year it was built, but that was added on so many years later, but this original part is the original church. This is someone, I guess, who died. I don't know much about these people, but just wanted to show you the date on here to show how old this church actually really is, because this was buried here 1785. So once I got back home, I figured I'd just look up a little bit more about the church, as I couldn't go inside. It was a little bit too early. I think they open around 10, 11 in the morning, and I was there very much earlier than that. So I did do a little research as I was interested. Wonder if you were interested. Anyway, it says here, the church was almost certainly present on the site in the Anglo-Saxon era as the daughter church of Croston. The first documentary record is dated 1362 and refers to the priest for the church. A letter dated 1442 refers to the rectory owned by the church, which is said to contain bones of St. Lawrence. So late St. Lawrence, actually the bones are buried in that church around the church, and that is St. Lawrence. So there you go. The tower in the present church dates from the 15th century. St. Lawrence became the parish church in its own right in 1793. And subsequently, the mother church of other churches in town, a major rebuilding of the church took place in 1859 to 61, so 1859 to 1861, when, among other changes, the galleries were removed, the aisles were added. There is a disagreement amongst the architect who was responsible for building. So they believe that there could be Hartwell in the building or Charles Verist, formerly Reed of Liverpool, but the price attributes the work of Lancaster architect E.G. Paley. Further alterations took place in 1913 to 1914. Interior of the church was recorded towards the end of the 20th century. So first ever documents of that church was 1362. So there's a little bit of history of the church if you're interested, and I'm always interested in stuff like that, especially since, I mean, 30 years ago I moved away from England, away from the history and everything else. Growing up when I was here in England, I wasn't that interested, but now that I'm a little older and I've lived away from England and lived in Canada and travelled the world and that, now I'm a little bit more curious and interested in history things. So there you go, that's what I did, research of the St. Lawrence's Church. Now the school obviously is not a new school now, but it was fairly new when I went to it, so it's not an old building, but the church itself is an old building. Hope you enjoyed the research. Let's continue with the video. So I was having a little bit of a wander around to see if I could see a plaque of how old this church really is. This was the very front main door in originally back in the day, and this actually door here would be the door that brides walk through on their wedding day to go down the aisle. And actually I got married in this church originally, so I went down the aisle through this door in my white dress many years ago. So Chorley, which is the town where I grew up, I'm in here now, and one of the main things for Chorley, it's very old, what they call market town, and this is part of the reason why. It's had a market for many years and very well known for it, and one of the biggest, and used to have two, but now I believe it only one market, and it's one of the biggest in the country, so that's what it's known for. Chorley is famous for its markets, which date back to the 1498. The most popular market day being Tuesday, as that's when two markets are open. As you can see, there are pretty much, you can buy anything in the markets, clothing, food, shoes, anything that you can think of. It also has areas that you can sit down, pick something for your lunch, or even choose a craft beer. It has everything you need in the market, and people from across the country come to actually visit the markets, especially on a Tuesday. This is why Chorley, being a town, they call it a market town. And one of the things that is quaint and beautiful when you look back through its history. So a little history about Chorley, and just hoping that you're enjoying this, because I'm actually having an amazing fun time doing some research of the place that I grew up. So Chorley actually wasn't known for its occupation until the Middle Ages. Through the archaeological evidence has shown that the area was actually inhabited in the Bronze Age. The oldest remaining building of Chorley is actually St. Lawrence's Church. Records show in 1362 being that it's still the oldest remaining building. Another area of Chorley nearby is called Roundloaf. It's believed to date 3500 BC. Chorley was on and off listed throughout history as actual occupation importance wasn't established until the Industrial Revolution. And as before that, it was mainly just two roads that people would just pass by, travellers would use. And that's why the name Chorley actually means woodland clearing. Chorley soon became a cotton town and had many mills up until the 1950s. That was the most major industry of Chorley through back in the history. It also had some coal mines and coal pits in that same era. During the war though, Chorley also had a huge munitions factory, and that actually didn't close until 1987. So that was a great industry and helped towards the World War back in the day, and that's why it was built. There's many things that I find very interesting of the history of England, and maybe in time, through the crafts and the painting and the creativity that I do, I think we'll bring in a little bit of history of different places in England as I go to visit them. Hope you enjoy those little snippets in between all the creating time that we have together. I hope you'll enjoy that as much as I will. So going back to England maybe is a good thing. Hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. You know, a little bit of history, a little bit of quaintness. You know, the Brits are all, they're so cute, aren't they? Anyway, next coming up, I'm going back out again today, and I'm going to go to a local store. It's kind of a hardware store kind of thing. Similar to, I would say, if you are in the US or Canada, is Home Depot. And I'm going to have a look around, see what paints and stuff they have, and have a look around and show you what they've got compared to what I'm used to using, and pick up some supplies, and then I can get painting. So this is B&Q, the store I was mentioning. It is the equivalent of Home Depot in Canada and America. It's even the same colours, as you can see. So it'll have similar things. Like most things in England, it is a smaller version than what you would get in the US and Canada, but it is a fairly big store. So let's go in and find out, shall we? See what's in style, see what's for sale, and mostly for me, go look at the paints. So here is the Rust-Oleum brand that I'm used to using in Canada. It's only a small shelf, but that's okay. It does have the products that I've used before, and look at this, it has crackle mediums. I've not seen that before for Rust-Oleum, so I'm going to definitely look into that and use that in the future. They do have smaller containers than what I've seen before, which is good for small projects. They even have tiny little touch-up ones, and then they have the regular size ones. This is the antique white. They don't have the white that I usually use. They have more of an antique white. They have a finish wax that I've never used before, so that'll be interesting to use. They don't have the huge pots, but I don't think I need them for what I'll be doing over the next little while. But I know these products I can also get on Amazon. Here I have a big supply. Look at this, different kinds of brushes, all styles, shapes, sizes, all kinds of things. So I certainly won't have a problem finding my brush or two to work for whatever project I'm thinking of doing. They have them all, so that's great to work with. So here, as you can see, beautiful wallpaper, and I had to show you this because I mean England is so well known for its old-fashioned style wallpaper. They wallpaper every room in the house if they can. Look at those peacocks, they're beautiful. But it'll be fun to work with on some projects using a bit of wallpaper, some odds and ends. So I kind of wanted to show you what was in. Look at that graffiti wallpaper, crazy. It's stuff that you don't generally get in other countries. They tend to use way more wallpaper in their rooms and their decor than we are. This one I liked. I like this kind of style, a plaid, but it's a very subtle soft grey style, so I kind of like that one. This one, it looks good in the picture, the brick, but when you look at it, you think, I'm not sure about that. We'll see. Anyway, they had different kinds of brick, but when you looked at the picture, I thought it looked good. But when I actually looked at the wallpaper itself, I wasn't too sure about it. This one's pretty too, be nice for a background or something. And there, another one of those brick ones. Looks good, doesn't it? But then you look and think, I don't know, that doesn't look like that picture to me. But we'll see. Have lots of fun maybe playing with them. But I enjoyed looking around at the different kinds. All sorts of patterns and pictures and, you know, flowers. So they were pretty. I liked the styles of some of them, and as I say, look at them together. This is kind of what's in fashion apparently here, coming up for now, I guess, fall coming. Here they have the odds and ends for sale. They're bits and pieces that they have over, so that was probably where I'd go to look. But look at this, that's funny, hey? It's kind of a animal kingdom, it's called. It's got animals on. So yeah, if you're into animals, there you go. Anyway, I thought I'd show you a bit of the curtains, cushions, bedding, that kind of thing. And here's that soft grey plaid that I liked, so it would be nice to get all that together. Next I went down into the lights section. I just thought I'd show you the different kinds because they had all sorts of modern ones. Look at those. But they also had some actually kind of more traditional ones. These are definitely modern, but they had some really nice kind of different ones. Very different ones, from old-fashioned looking to very modern. So, and here a little bit of the pricing in pounds, just to give you an idea. So that one's a bit more subtle, but this one here, look how old-fashioned that looks compared to some of the modern ones. Quite pretty. Here's some lamps, different kinds. I thought this one was nice, got a kind of a copper tone look to it. And these were my favourite. I love the inside of these, the black and then the kind of a copper look underneath. Kind of a rose gold coppery look. I like those the best, they were my favourite. And then a few modern ones here just to show you the different ones. Look at how modern those look. Not my style, but just wanted to show you different things they have. These were more of the cheapest things they had, but look, it's kind of nice. Go with any room if you've got a certain colour. Here I went into the section of tiles, and they had amazing kind of tiles for the doing your bathroom, doing your kitchen, that kind of thing. They had from metal factor look to different diamante looks and all kinds of things. We definitely have them in the US and Canada, but I wanted to show you kind of some of the different ones they had here. Quite the range. This was only one section. They had many sections like this, and they do tend to, I find, in England, they decorate more often than we do in the Canada and US. They will completely change a room's colour, curtains, carpet, wall colour, and then all the decor every couple of years. Thank you for watching. I'm Julie from Rustic Cottage Co.